Well, hello everyone and welcome to Race Week, where today are here with the midweek recap for where we will preview the 2020 Portuguese Grand Prix, which takes place this weekend. Now, before we go into the preview, make sure you visit us at RaceWeekblog.com to see the blog posts on our site and for more Race Week content. And make sure you follow us on Twitter at RaceWeek Show, twitter.com/RaceWeek_show for live feeds during the races. This weekend, Formula 1 heads to the Portuguese Grand Prix, to the Autódromo Internacional do Algarve for round 13 of this 17 race season, playing host with the first Portuguese Grand Prix since 1996. So, let's go in to the show. We start off with the news, and the big news this week, which came out today heading into this race, is at Haas. Today, it was announced that both Romain Grosjean and Kevin Magnussen will not be driving for them next year. This is news that we kind of saw coming, but some will say that this came a little bit late. Romain Grosjean has been struggling with the team for quite some time now and not delivering the results. Magnussen not getting retained is a bit more of a surprise, though, if you consider the fact that he has from time to time got some good results for the team. But obviously Haas have decided that it's now time for a fresh start, and it looks likely that this is going to mark the end of both drivers' time in Formula 1. Romain Grosjean, after 9 full seasons, 9.5 if you count the half a season that he did in 2009, and Kevin Magnussen after 6 seasons in Formula 1. Now, where both drivers are going to go, we don't know, of course, but it's been speculated that Romain Grosjean is going to move to endurance racing, whilst Kevin Magnussen is going to go to IndyCar. It's going to be interesting to see where they go, especially if Kevin Magnussen goes to IndyCar. He's always said that he likes that series, but there are a lot of free seats. It's just a question of if any IndyCar team will want to take him. And Romain Grosjean, he should not have any problem finding an endurance racing drive. And of course, now the question is, who takes that seat? There have been a lot of changes since I recorded that lineup prediction video. And one is the emergence of Nikita Mazepin as an option. And he is now emerging as a favourite to be driving for Haas next year. He has done some strong races this year in Formula 2, and also he brings a lot of backing as well. He doesn't just bring his father's company to the team when it comes to people funding it, but also could potentially bring some expertise. His father's company owns the high-tech team, who have been a very skilled junior series team for many years. I am actually starting to wonder if this could be the start of a transition from Haas to high-tech, maybe. And of course, now people are saying Mick Schumacher is a favourite to drive for Haas, having previously looked like he will drive for Alfa Romeo next year. And this could be an interesting, because it seems that Alfa Romeo wants him, so this could be a bit of a fight between the two Ferrari-powered teams as to who they might want, as to who is going to get Mick Schumacher. If not, then there's the likes of Callum Ilott or Robert Schwartzman as a potential option if they're going to go for a rookie for their second car. But they also could go for experience. Of course, Sergio Perez is on the market. And he is obviously the driver that I tipped to be driving for Haas in 2021. The next bit of news, Lance Stroll. And this is a bit of a weird situation. And it does appear that his illness that put him out of the Eiffel Grand Prix did turn out to be COVID after all, despite testing negative on multiple occasions. Now this is a very weird situation. Racing Point are actually being reprimanded for it. But I guess this goes to show that testing is not fully a silver bullet if you can go through multiple tests, considering that the illness that he had dated back to the Russian Grand Prix 2 weeks before. So, providing that illness that he was having was COVID, I mean, it could possibly have also been that the illness wasn't COVID. It was he had an don't know how to pronounce the word, COVID without symptoms, and it just being a coincidence he got it at the same time as he was having a stomach upset. But it does seem quite odd that he got through like 3 or 4 tests without testing positive, despite maybe having the virus. And the next bit is there's been a lot of speculation about the 2021 calendar over the past couple of weeks. The first bit is regarding what's going to happen with the Australian Grand Prix. They are expecting the same races with the addition of the Jeddah Grand Prix, which will take place in Saudi Arabia, what we call the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in Jeddah, speculated to potentially be replacing Brazil, but there's also been speculation that we could have a 23 race calendar next year. But the leaked calendar had Melbourne moved to the end of the season to ensure that their race can be run with spectators. But Melbourne have denied that and stated that they are expecting to host the season opener in mid-March. The leaked schedule had Bahrain as the season opener, with testing also potentially rumoured to be taking place in Bahrain as well. And as I mentioned, rumours of Nikita Mazepin getting into Formula 1 have reached fever pitch. I included this picture before today's announcement. I mean, had it been earlier, I would have grouped it with them. But I've kind of already mentioned Nikita Mazepin and his F1 prospects. And there's been a lot of rumours with regards to the silly season, which could include Sergio Perez going to Williams. And this could come at the expense of George Russell, there's now fears that he could end up being out of a drive for 2021, which would be a real shame. And he'd actually be the third Mercedes Junior to suffer that fate after 2 years in Formula 1. So that is the news, and now it's time to talk about the weekend in hand. And firstly, it is time to take you for a guide around this thrilling circuit in Portimao. So here is the track guide. The Autodromo Internacional do Algarve is located in the town of Portimao in the Algarve region of Portugal, which plays host to the first Portuguese Grand Prix since 1996. Having been built in 2008, this circuit, which is 4.693 kilometers in length, is no stranger to Formula 1, having been used for testing in 2009. The circuit itself consists of 15 corners with lots of elevation changes. To show what I'm talking about, here is a lap around this thrilling circuit. Here we are on the long pit straight, starting a lap around this thrilling circuit. The only DRS zone on the circuit is the main straight. Then heading towards the first corner, which is the medium speed right-hander at Primera, in towards the king of turn 2, and then into the first braking zone of the circuit, which is turn 3. then in towards turn 4, which is on a hill, and you have to really balance the throttle, otherwise the car will bottom out on the bumps. Up towards the braking zone at turn 5, which is known as Torre Vip, which is heavily cambered and the road falls away from you on the exit. In towards the kink of turn 6, then into the double right of turn 7 and turn 8, known as Samsung. You have to be really careful on the exit, because otherwise you're going to lose it over the bumps. In towards the flat out left at Craig Jones corner, then in towards another double right, actually known as Portimao. Now up towards turn 12, which is flat, but there are bumps in the middle which the car can easily bottom out. Now in towards turn 13, and then in towards turn 14 at Sagres, and then in towards the flat out final corner, a very long final corner which takes you back onto the main straight, and that is a lap around this roller coaster of a circuit. So, now let's take you through a team-by-team preview of this week for this weekend's race in reverse constructors order. Still frustratingly on the starting block despite many chances to score points. I mean, not really sure what this track has to offer for them, because this car seems to do fairly well in downforce type circuits, but it is a little bit draggy in some places. But it's going to be interesting to see where they fare, because I have a feeling that they're going to be around similar pace to what they were in Mugello. I get the feeling it is going to be a tough race for Haas. With these sweeping corners, this track could be quite hard on tyres, and we know that that is a place that Haas struggle the most. Next up, we talk about Alfa Romeo, and they'll probably be the quickest out of the lower three teams, considering that they don't have as many tyre issues, and also they have a good car a reasonable car when it comes to downforce. Next up we have AlphaTauri, who it can be said are bearing down on Ferrari, 6th place in the standings. And I'm expecting the usual for AlphaTauri. I mean, they've been kind of similar pace at pretty much every race so far, bar the Nürburgring, where they seem to lack a bit of pace. But they've been always there to be potentially scoring points. So I could see it being another decent race for them. Next up we have Ferrari, and they do have some upgrades, and at the Nürburgring they did seem to be going in the right direction, so I'm actually expecting them to be a little quicker than they have been this season, but still they have a long way to go to be up front. Next up we have Renault, off the back of a podium with Daniel Ricciardo on a roll when it comes to form, finishing in the top 6 for the last 5 races. I think that we will see another good race from him, and we will see Renault potentially threatening to get that final podium place once again. They seem to be very quick, and obviously they're embroidered in a close battle in the constructor standings with McLaren and Racing Point. And I think they have a good chance of getting third in the constructors. Racing Point, I think, will be quite disappointed with their season so far. They it's been said that they have easily the third quickest car, but they haven't always made the most of it. But a Mercedes-based car should go well around this circuit, and I think this will end up being a good weekend for them. Realised I did that in the wrong order there. I was supposed to do McLaren first before Racing Point. Racing Point are ahead of McLaren in the Constructors. McLaren have kind of dropped back a bit in the past few races. They have admitted that their car is not as strong as, for example, the Racing Point or the Renault, but they have been probably quite consistent when it comes out of these three teams, and they of course are going to put up a fight to defend to see if they can get third in the Constructors, and this weekend should be decent for them, I'd say. Big question is for this weekend, how close can Red Bull get to Mercedes? I mean, I'm expecting Mercedes to be good around here, but Red Bull seem to have a good car around circuits with sweeping corners. Obviously, we saw that at Silverstone. And considering that tyres is not always has been Mercedes' strong point, I think Red Bull will be there to see if they can find a weakness in Mercedes this weekend. But it will be tough for them. Of course, Mercedes go into this weekend as favourites. And also, this track is where this car is going to be in its element. From what we've seen, I could see the Mercedes being an incredible car to watch around the undulating corners of this circuit. That it's going to stick to the track in ways that the others simply cannot match up to. And I think this will be a good weekend for them. Obviously, once again, as usual, they go into this weekend as favourites. So, taking a look at the drivers' standings. I didn't mean to click news, but taking a look at the drivers' standings. Lewis Hamilton has a very strong lead of 69 points back to Valtteri Bottas in second, and he does look on. If he wins this weekend, he will officially have the most victories out of anyone in history of Formula 1. He's equalled the 91 race wins record, but he hasn't broken the record yet. Max Verstappen is after Valtteri Bottas' DNF in the Eiffel Grand Prix, is closing onto Valtteri Bottas and is looking there to pick up the pieces if Valtteri falters. And like in the Constructors, you have a really close battle between the likes of Ricciardo, Perez, Norris, Albon, Leclerc, Stroll, maybe even Gasly and Sainz, maybe even Ocon in the battle for fourth in the Constructors standings. And this could go quite a lot of ways, the battle for fourth in the standings, but right now I think Daniel Ricciardo is looking a favourite for that fourth place in the standings. So that is it from the midweek recap. Make sure you join us at 17:30 BST for the Friday recap tomorrow. And as I said at the beginning of the broadcast, make sure you check out the RaceWeek site at raceweekblog.com and follow us on Twitter at twitch.com/raceweek_show. Make sure you leave a like and comment and subscribe for more Race Week content. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you tomorrow for the Friday recap. Goodbye.